With 2030 quickly approaching, I sat down once again with founder of Human Asset Management and MoldMaking Technology Editorial Advisory Board member, Marion Wells, who is all things talent development. But this time, we not only review the current challenges in manufacturing's workforce, she offers a prescription. Let's take a listen.
Marion, 2030. Wow. We've been talking about this for a while now, when it was probably 10 years away, maybe?
Yep.
At least 8, and now it's 5 years away.
Yep.
Recently, you and I, you know what I did recently? I took all the articles that you and I worked on together, and I used AI to compile them to tell the story of how the issue, the evolution of our talent from when we first started talking until now. We're going to do something with it eventually, but it's an interesting story. But how about from your perspective? Let's talk about where we were when we first talked. Not so much take us through that, but where we are today. Like, what's the drastic difference, if there is any?
I think the drastic difference is that there's more awareness. I think we've talked about the topic enough of talent, of retention, of messaging, of marketing, of going after the younger worker enough that people are starting to get it now because they started experiencing it. They started feeling the pain of trying to keep staff on board, right? And now they're to the next step in the process, which is doing something about it. Whether it's through the apprenticeship programs, whether it's through mentoring, whether it's through, hiring and training on, they're doing something, which I think is a big thing. But what they're not really embracing for, which I think is going to really be impactful, is 2030. Because when that last baby boomer does walk out of the shop, and maybe they will and maybe they won't, a lot of knowledge is going to walk out of the industry. And then
They might not be able to.
Absolutely.
Opportunity and punishment.
Well, you know what? And then the employer will look and say, hey, can you work 2 days a week? I don't need you 7. You go have your retirement, but give me 2 days. Maybe give me 3 days.
2 days to train and mentor, or 2 days to work?
Train, mentor. Because we have to develop this next generation quickly to get them on board, right?
Have you been, I know you talk to a lot of customers in manufacturing, have you seen anybody that's doing it right?
Not really. Our favorite, Westminster. Yes, they bit the bullet a long time ago, and now they're reaping the benefits, right? Others are starting to follow in their pattern and starting to see it for themselves, and they won't admit it, but they're doing it, right? They just don't want to talk about it. I think the thing that's going to really be so eye-opening for everybody is that in 2030 will be 10 years post-COVID. Remember, COVID started in 2019, emerging 2020, and 2030 will be 10 years. So now we're going to have a different crop of worker bees coming out, who might have a different level of interest.
And a totally different way of knowing, a different perspective on what even work is, or how to work.
Absolutely. And no matter where you are on this AI thing, AI will be more embedded. There'll be more technology. We don't even know what it's going to look like in 5 years. That's how rapid it's moving, and that's how rapid it's changing. So if it's anything anybody's getting, is that change. It's coming. You're like, catching the ball, right? And what do I do with it?
It's still that same challenge where, I agree with you that we've done a lot less talking and more action, definitely on a local level, individual shops, helping each other or connecting with high schools and really getting in the schools. But it's still that same mentality of, we still got to get business done. We don't have time for training. I heard a story actually this week of somebody that was told, you have to stop mentoring, it's taking too much time. We can't concentrate on that right now. It's like, woof, so it's that short-term benefit, I guess, for long-term.
It's the pressure to generate revenue. That pressure is not going to leave us, right?
Right. So you got to figure it out.
So you got to figure it out. And people are under a tremendous amount of stress to make things happen quickly with no regard for the next generation. So that you're right, they're caught between a rock and a hard spot. So where do you get that sense of balance? And it is a balancing act, and they're going to get better at it, but
now it's going to be forced on them.
Now it's
very
going to be
quickly.
forced on them very quickly, and they can't just abandon it, right? Their employees are going to either walk out the door, the young ones, because they're not satisfied. You said you were going to change, you're not changing, I'm out. And when they start to experience that kind of pain, then they'll start to get it.
And you hope it's not too late, right? Training. Have you seen anything in training? Oh, let's put it that way. What's your advice for, I guess, a step one today? If somebody's acknowledging, okay, I'm kind of training people, I'm finding people here and there, I'm okay right now. 5 years from now, what should they be doing right now today, though?
They should be creating that future plan. They really should put pen to paper and sit down and draft out it visually of what they want the organization to look like, because they don't know what they don't know. But they need to have somebody within the firm, the company, the organization that's paying attention to it, right? They can't just wake up 5 years from now and start doing it. You gotta be intentional about going after these issues.
Does that look like a separate role to you, or is that somebody's second job? Or
I think it could be a separate role, but for right now, people are going to try to have HR do it, and then put it on HR, and HR has to stand up and scream from the mountaintop, because they're the one that are dealing with all of the issues internally, with the people issues internally within the organization.
I might even seen HR change, right? Like what that actually means within a small to mid-sized shop, right? That's totally changed.
Yeah.
It's not just benefits and payroll.
They're not even calling them HR anymore.
What is it now?
They're calling them the people chief.
The people chief. The chief people officer.
Yeah, the chief people officer. The one that really makes a big difference in terms of what they're doing and how they're approaching and who they're going after and the differences that they're trying to make. Yeah.
So not only are we trying to find people for the machines or the software, the engineers, now we have to find these people to be on the business side of it, right?
To be on the business side.
And you have to understand what the manufacturer is doing and their processes to even understand what you need as people. It's really complicated.
It is very complicated. We're going to have that business analyst. We're going to have that, person who's focused on the data. We're going to have that individual that's going to be a part of the leadership team, and that is a new role that you'll have to get used to.
What is exciting, and maybe another complication, is even this week talking to so many shops that maybe organically, maybe because of what's going on in the country, but are really changing the focus. There's a lot of diversification, and not just like I'm going from automotive tooling to medical or bringing on other end markets. They're changing. They're getting into parts machining, Swiss type work. They're getting into production molding.
They're getting really into aerospace.
Yeah.
The SpaceX program is really ramping up, right? They're getting into
governmental
work.
And they're expanding fast. And actually, speaking of that, so the government work, that entails a whole other thing of, you need to have somebody on staff that even understands how to get into that work, the whole certification end of it, right? The quality standards. So they have a lot going on.
They have a lot
in the next 5 years.
They have a lot. And the question becomes, with all of this reshoring, with all of this bringing manufacturing back, will we survive? Will everybody get off their butts and get engaged? Because now you have competition. Yep. You really have competition.
Yeah, that's true. And if we want it all to come back, we need to be ready for it.
That's right. So it's a two-hand thing. It's a good problem to have.
Well, that's a good way to end this. It is a good problem to have. Now let's get to it, right?
Yeah, let's get to it.
Excellent. Thank you, Marion, for some more insight on this very controversial topic. 5 years, 2030. And check out MoldMakingTechnology.com for all of Marion's articles and content.